So the first thing on the agenda is the Drops Asia chapter. So, as mentioned in the introduction emails, we had a bit of a slow start. We just we had our Christmas and then Chinese New Year, and we kind of figured, what, we'll start after that, and then of course after that the whole COVID thing broke out, and we a lot of us are in HSE positions, so very occupied with the whole COVID outbreak, right? So very little time, but of course then we had our meetings and we discussed what we want to achieve. This is already quite a while back, so at that time we were still thinking, hey, we can do a face-to-face forum. I think that is starting to look increasingly unlikely, but it's still up here on the focus area. So we have a steering committee of 8 members. You can see them at the bottom, and we have all our different objectives. So everyone kind of submitted things that they want to achieve, and we consolidated that in this document. And that kind of gives us guidance on what we want to achieve. There's a document with KPIs, which we refer to as well, but it's a fluid document which we can update, but at least it gives us some guidance. So what we want to continue is hold regular virtual networking events and encourage sharing from different companies. We want to be focusing on sharing high potential incidents. So if you have something in your organization which you'd like to share, love to hear from you. Okay, so the third item is we would like to improve engagement with national oil companies and regulatory bodies and other industries. So last year, for example, we had Petronas join our committee out of Malaysia, and it's they have obviously a lot of influence in their industry. And hopefully this year, we'll get other companies, perhaps ONGC, Pertamina, PTTEP, those kind of companies. With that in mind, I do realize that typically getting those companies on board requires face-to-face meetings, which are impossible right now. Organize a face-to-face meeting. So we did a survey late last year asking what people wanted from the Drops committee, and yeah, one of the top items was, yes, let's organize a face-to-face forum. Again, that's going to be really hard now. Typically you would want to have several months of preparation. We said that this COVID crisis should be over before July if we were to plan anything this year. Well, I'm an optimistic guy, but I don't think that will happen. So we'll focus on this for now. We'll want to participate in industry events such as IADC and company HSE events. Again, if you're having like an online meeting, then we'd be happy to kind of participate in that. Collaboration with other chapters. So we mentioned earlier in the call, Oman has a very good chapter in the North Sea. There's a good chapter. The North America chapter have just released the revision of the recommended practice. So we'd like to do more collaboration with them. Okay, so focus on the hierarchy of controls, eliminate by lifting less. I'll leave that to Sarah to cover in her presentation later. So work with vendors to stimulate the development and adoption of products and services to eliminate dropped objects. Yeah, so this year we really want to focus on products. So here's kind of the chance. If you have a great idea that you want to share and that you believe can help the industry reduce dropped objects, love to hear from you, and the committee will review. Or if you have a challenge that needs a solution, also love to hear from you, and then we'll bring it out to the community and see if anyone can come up with a solution. So engineered solutions to enforce no entry in restricted area access. That's I think another thing which Sarah will briefly cover on later. I will be covering the virtual reality training. Then number 11, expand social media campaign on LinkedIn and YouTube. So Yeah, one thing of drops is to come up with all kinds of ways to prevent drops. But then the other element is, well, how do you get people to adopt this, right? And it's basically a question of spreading the message widely. And social media is becoming increasingly effective in that. We, our posts on LinkedIn have seen 40,000 views last year, and 2,500 people reacted to these polls. So there's a lot of interaction there. Introduce drops to Indonesia. So we have active participant from BP Video in Indonesia, and also Adobe from Siaptech is on the call, very, very active in promoting drops in Indonesia. There's a lot of potential there to kind of spread the word. So we're working with them to see how we can get more companies involved there. So that's the part on the Drops Asia chapter. Steve, over to you. Have there been any questions that need to be answered on this, or anything in the chat?
Yeah, we have one question. Somebody, Scott, was asking whether the presentation material and right up the Q&A will be sent out to attendees after the webinar.
Good question. Yes, I'm going to do my best to do that. In fact, we're trying to even put the videos and stuff on YouTube if we have the right permissions and everything.